Today on X-Play.
Told you not to smoke.
Collegiate sports. Hospital trauma.
What is that?
And picnic squeaks. Blitz, baby. It's game time.
Damn. This is worse than South Philly.
Prepare to be reviewed.
Adam Sessler. Morgan Webb.
Prepare to be reviewed.
Prepare to be reviewed. This is X-Play.
Hello and welcome to X-Play.
Morgan isn't here today. I'm Kristin Holt, standing in the spot Morgan would stand in if she were here.
And don't think it's not appreciated. Also, I should note that my voice barely exists today. I had to give the commencement address at the DeVry University class of February graduation. But even though I lost my voice, I'm here because unlike Miss Webb, I'm not a quitter. But I am going to quit now and make Kristin introduce the games.
Games like Trauma Center, which continues to prove that practicing medicine without a license is still one of the most fun felonies you can commit, and Robo Blitz, a new action puzzle game for Xbox Live Marketplace, and Kirby Squeak Squad, a platformer about a little pink guy whose only dream is to enjoy a picnic in peace.
But we begin with sports, not actual professional sports, but the kind that are just as corrupt, drug-fueled, and intense, but which rely on the shared fiction that the participants are earning sociology degrees from state schools. Here's our review of College Hoops 2K7.
The ball is tipped, and there you are. You're playing the 360. You're a shooting star. In all the b-ball you've ever played, it's led to this, College Hoops 2K. This is your one shining moment. It's all on the line. Yes, college sports fans, your game is here. College Hoops 2K7, the basketball video game for those who like b-ball but aren't ready for the NBA just yet. College Hoops plays pretty much the same as NBA 2K7. The same flow, the same rhythm, the same flavor. The big difference? College players are nameless. Not a Kobe or a LeBron in sight. Or are they? We don't know.
Slam down by number 34.
There are no official names in this bad boy. How are we supposed to know which player is getting cash from boosters, or which player will steal their roommate's girlfriend, or which player will transfer after half a season? We just don't know. It's about the teams here. It's about Duke. Lacrosse players not included. It's about North Carolina. It's about Duke versus North Carolina. It's about UCLA. UCLA, the greatest school in the history of schools, the most championships, the greatest sports program of all time. That is, if you ignore last year's championship game. I know I do.
College basketball has a new national champion.
All the typical modes are here. The legacy mode, where you're the coach, the big tourney modes, every mode you'd expect for quote-unquote amateur athletics. And the announcing, pure Vern Lundquestian.
From 20 feet out.
Add in the greatest gumble of them all, and you've got a solid college game.
I'm Greg Gumbel.
If you can't find someone to help with your big Cornell, Connecticut match, just go online. You'll find somebody. That's where Xbox Live is your friend.
Nice job to convert from you close.
Passing will take some getting used to, but College Hoops 2K7 has a good, fast pace to it. It's just a shame we can't play with some of the big-time college players of the day. Who wouldn't want to play as Ohio State's Greg Oden or UCLA's Aaron Aflalo?
Got the bucket and the foul.
They're just not here, and that's the big irritant of the game. Did we mention Greg Gumbel? He's the thinking man's Gumbel.
I'm Greg Gumbel.
College Hoops 2K7 gets 4 shining moments out of 5.
Number 23. Yes.
Basketball players do so much for America. They entertain us, they promote products, they give the Colorado legal system interesting things to prosecute. But mostly, they give genetic freaks everywhere hope that someone will invent a sport that makes their disorder a marketable skill.
Unfortunately, not all of us are athletic or even coordinated enough to play a game of darts without injuring a loved one. But for those cerebral folks who rely on keen intellect rather than brute strength, there are other high-income professions. And if, like me, you weren't able to hack it at any of those professions, you could pretend to be a doctor in Trauma Center.
If Jack Thompson has taught us anything, it's that video games are nothing more than brutal killing simulators, devoid of meaning or social value. If someone sat down and showed him an upbeat game like Trauma Center Second Opinion for the Wii, his mind would probably be blown, but You know what? We're sure he's never heard of it. You'd think he'd be familiar with trauma centers. That's where the ambulance he's chasing is headed. Second Opinion is a remake of the popular Nintendo DS surgery game, and it may just be better than the original.
Starting the operation.
As you'd imagine, the Wii control scheme is perfect for a game like Trauma Center. Point the remote at the screen and use it as a scalpel, a laser, or a whole host of other medical tools. You can even push both controllers forward and use them as a defibrillator.
We have a pulse.
But the best part of the change from the DS to the Wii is the ability to quickly change surgical instruments on the fly with the nunchuck. Once you get your patient opened up, prepare yourself for some unpleasant surprises.
What is that?
Wow, how did that get in there? Takes skill to save a man with a 6-inch piece of glass in his heart. That and infinite retries. The game's storyline is pretty much unchanged from the DS version.
Dr. Stiles.
You play as Dr. Stiles, a naive surgeon who's so green, he actually goes out partying instead of filling out important medical charts. When one of his patients nearly dies, he vows to start taking his career seriously.
Don't die on me!
Fortunately for him, Dr. Stiles has been blessed with something called the Healing Touch, an ability that lets him slow down time, provided he can draw a magical pentagram in the air.
I won't give up.
It's sort of like Grey's Anatomy meets Harry Potter.
Proceed as normal.
Proceed as normal? You just saved a patient with witchcraft.
Starting the operation.
Most of the content is the same as the DS original, but the Wii version adds a 10-level side story featuring a brand new surgeon named Dr. Weaver.
Oh, that's not right.
Not to be confused with the Dr. Weaver on ER. The upgraded graphics work pretty well, even if some parts of the anatomy look less E-rated than others. Removing throat polyps with your laser has never felt so wrong.
Pull it toward yourself.
If we had one gripe, it's the brutal learning curve. The first couple hours are pretty easy, but Second Opinion goes from simple to code blue very abruptly. Realizing this, developers wisely allow you to switch from normal to easy at any point in the game's story.
Not half bad.
If you only buy one surgery simulator for your Wii this year, well, it's probably gonna be this one. Fortunately, it's a lot of fun. Trauma Center Second Opinion gets a 4
Starting the operation.
out of 5.
If you guys enjoyed Trauma Center, maybe you'd like to play some other games where you can simulate actual professions.
Well, Kristin, do you know where our home viewing audience could learn about games based on professions?
The Streets?
That's right. The Streets is your one-stop source for all the information you could ever want, like how to hotwire a car and how much 10 grams of crack should cost.
Unfortunately, X-Play's core viewers are a bit too weak and cowardly to make it on the streets. But you can learn all you need to know about games from g4tv.com/xplay.
So come on by and check out all our reviews. And kids, remember, we were just joking. You shouldn't do drugs unless they're free and your friends are pressuring you to try them.
Up next, Robo Blitz on X-Play.
In 1, the game began. In 2, it challenged them. And now, the rules get even more twisted. So
The creators of Les Mis, Phantom of the Opera, and a chorus line had nothing to do with this train wreck. Join Adam and Morgan as they count down the top 5 video game soundtracks of all time. X-Play, the musical, coming February 5th at 8, only on G4.
Two cops who don't play by the rules. It's Adam Sessler and Kristin Holt.
Welcome back to X-Play.
Morgan's not here. We're not entirely sure where she is. I heard something about a plane crash with the soccer team in the Andes, but that's all speculation.
But you've got me, Kristin Holt, the host of Cheat, to lead you through the newest games.
Since the 360 came out, it's produced some quality titles. Gears of War, Viva Pinata, and Dead Rising. They all made it a console worth owning.
But the single most compelling aspect of 360 ownership has always been the downloadable games on Xbox Live. Here's yet another addition, Robo Blitz.
Let's face it, robots haven't always had the best representation on X-Play. From bloodthirsty murderous robots to breakdancing robots.
Any second now.
To my failed attempts to do the robot. Well, all that's going to change with the release of RoboBlitz for Xbox Live Arcade. Since it relaunched for the 360 in 2005, the arcade's been a dumping ground for classics like Street Fighter II and fun novelties like Geometry Wars. But there haven't been many ambitious original titles for the service. That is, until now. RoboBlitz is a great example of how the download service can be used for more than ports. You control Blitz, a plucky robot who works on a station attacked by space pirates. Why does it always have to be pirates? They could at least made them space vampires. Now that's original.
Soon revenge will be mine.
It's up to you to get the station operational so that you can blast the bad guys back to wherever it is space pirates come from. Thanks to the Unreal Engine 3, all the physics feel lifelike and accurate, which is good because a lot of the challenge depends on your ability to manipulate the environment. Take this conveyor belt, for instance. It gets stuck when you try and turn it. The solution? Hop down, grab some nearby scrap metal, and use that as leverage to rotate the base of it. If that's too much work, you can use your grappling beam to yank it towards you. And of course, what kind of self-respecting platform game would this be without collectibles? In RoboBlitz, you're seeking out Upgradium, which lets you build new weapons and robot parts. Great. We finally discovered the 119th element, and we use it to build a faster unicycle. Once you finish a level, Blitz celebrates with a victory dance. That or he's having a grand mal seizure. The downside of the complex physics engine is that Blitz tends to get stuck on glitchy surrounding items, and the camera frequently has conniption fits. If this is confusing to watch, imagine what it's like to play. But we'll forgive it the occasional short circuit. At about $15, this is a nice, simple, inexpensive change of pace for cheap-ass gamers everywhere. We give RoboBlitz 4 seizures out of 5.
The aspect of the game which bothered me the most was that little robot that was trying to save his planet from pirates.
Piracy is a way of life that's dying. Its last few adherents are an aging band of men and boys who can barely make a life for themselves.
That's why X-Play is sponsoring a project called Save the Pirates. We're sending out ships full of food, medical supplies, and doubloons into the Caribbean so that they continue their ways of theft and pillaging.
It's our way of giving back.
And an audience like you can give back too by downloading the X-Play podcast.
That bastard, the dog whisperer, is still beating us. Do you know what it feels like when I go home and I have to sit quietly alone and know that some guy who talks to dogs has a more popular podcast than I do? It feels so bad. The only way I can make the hurt go away is the cutting.
Adam, it'll be okay, sweetheart. We'll get through it together. But only if you, the home audience, will download our podcast. You may just save a life.
Moments away. SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs on X-Play.
HQ, we've just found a load of opium resin.
I'm Kristin Holt, and it's time to start the feed.
Log on to governmentmoneyclub.com and find out now!
Happy harvesting. It's Adam Sessler and Kristin Holt.
Hello, and welcome back to X-Play. I'm Kristin Holt, guest hosting for Morgan Webb, who's on vacation in Canada baby seal hunting.
Seals, the most noble of nature's creatures. Well, after pelicans, of course. But there's nothing more dignified than watching a gigantic blubbery sea mammal drag itself across the beach and eat some rotting fish entrails. That's why the Navy named their most respected sea-to-land combat troops after the animals. Troops featured in our next game, SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs, Fireteam Bravo 2.
For years, one phrase has been a call to action for many a young man and woman with a taste for adventure, patriotic urges, or a general lack of direction in their lives. Join the Navy, see the world. The most horrible, dangerous parts of the world, yes, but parts nonetheless. And though many of us would end up as cooks or randy bootblacks aboard one of our country's many ships in service, a select few will achieve the honor of becoming Navy SEALs. Young, well-honed killing machines like the ones in SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs Fireteam Bravo 2 for the PSP, a title that's almost as long as the Bush administration's exit strategy from Iraq.
We've secured the area. We're moving on.
Fireteam Bravo 2 places you in the role of Sandman, the leader of an elite group of Navy SEALs and purveyor of pricelessly hilarious one-liners like this.
We've found the villagers. They're being used for slave labor.
Zing! In this sequel to SOCOM Fireteam Bravo, Sandman and the boys find themselves embroiled in a conflict with Tajikistan rebels intent on overthrowing the country's US-supported government. And although there's danger and intrigue at every turn, who says that war can't also have its perks?
HQ, we just found a large stash of heroin.
Nice. Although the controls in Bravo 2 can get a bit confusing at times, the action is nonetheless exciting and engaging as players lead two-man SEAL teams through various missions, including reconnaissance, hostage rescue, and of course, ganking the enemy's stash.
HQ, we've just found a load of opium resin.
As is the case with most SOCOM titles, Bravo 2 allows you to come and join your fellow man in cyberspace, with an online mode that brings together up to 16 players across various boards and modes of play. Possibly the coolest aspect of Bravo 2 is its ability to communicate with the also newly released SOCOM US Navy SEALs Combined Assault for the PS2. For example, taking out a particular group of insurgents in Bravo 2 will free up your guys in Combined Assault for, more important work.
I'm looking at high-grade narcotics, HQ.
Fireteam Bravo 2 is a great sequel and addition to the SOCOM ranks. Not only that, its action and wealth of missions make it an all-around kick-ass handheld shooter. SOCOM US Navy SEALs Fireteam Bravo 2 gets a 4.
Sandman, nice work.
Out of 5.
You know, if the PSP is around long enough, it might actually get a decent number of quality games.
Yeah, except for the fact that every game made for the DS is magically delicious. The PSP still has yet to prove to me there's a reason it should exist.
It is very shiny and fancy looking. If only they could create a game as slick as it looks.
Yeah, but SOCOM US Navy SEALs Fireteam Bravo 2 is a pretty badass name. It could be a bit more pimp, though. SOCOM US Navy Smooth-Ass Pimp Ass-Slapping Team Bravo. How about that?
Maybe, I don't know.
Up next, Kirby Squeak Squad on X-Play.
Tuesday through Friday at 9. Star Trek: The Next Generation is interactive.
Go to G4TV.com. Always fresh, always new, always plugged in.
Contact. It's the moment, it's the reason. For Adam Sessler and Kristin Holt.
Welcome back to X-Play. I like to take a moment away from all the video game reviewing and nihilist jokes to say something. Britney has got to stop. All this vagina showing in public drunkenness and being just moments away from a really severe weight problem, it's just too much. I have to stop caring, Britney, because you're destroying yourself and you're tearing me apart in the process.
And speaking of creatures who gain their power by inhaling others, here's Kirby Squeak Squad.
Into every life, a little Kirby must fall.
Back in my day, I wrote 17 books a week and Kirby's wife on the side.
No, not that Kirby. This Kirby. This isn't Kirby's first foray into the DS world. That happened with Kirby Canvas Curse. But the cult of Kirby wasn't too pleased with that bad boy. They want their old friend Kirby, the familiar platforming Kirby, comfort food Kirby. And that's what Kirby Squeak Squad is all about. Kirby's not trying to trick you or complicate things. Kirby don't play that way. You know the drill. Running around, this away, that away, all sorts of power-ups. Just oodles of good-natured Kirby-esque fun. The Kirby you've always wanted. But is it the Kirby Kirby's always wanted? Poor Kirby. Nobody's faced bigger adversity than Kirby. Not the Marshall football team, not Pluto, not Philip Seymour Hoffman. Nobody. Kirby just wants to enjoy a cool and creamy piece of cheesecake. Lord knows he's earned it. But life, as it does, gets in the way. Some mysterious mystery swoops by and steals Kirby's snick snack. You just don't do that to Kirby. It's on now. And that leads Kirby into his latest adventure, the search for cheesecake. But who took the cheesecake? You'll have to play the game to find out. This ain't no spoiler theater. But it is a power-up theater with over 20 to choose from. And these powers run the gamut. Fire, ice, swords, magic, metal, and, Cupid. Why Cupid? Why not Cupid? Now, lest we forget, this is a DS game. So Kirby, Kirby, Kirby. Can't you see? Sometimes your screens just hypnotize me. The action is all up on the top screen. The bottom screen stores all the power-ups. A jambalaya or hodgepodge, if you will, of power-up and goodness. Think of it as Nicole Richie's stomach constantly regurgitating. The game is short. Kirby doesn't like to waste your time that way. It's not adding much to the Kirby milieu. And the mini-games are so inconsequential, we shouldn't even mention them. Even though we just did. So if you're looking for something new or innovative, this really isn't the place. It's Kirby. He's like a bowl of chicken soup from your third favorite deli. Good. Not great, but good. Kirby Squeak Squad gets 3 same old Kirbys. Out of 5.
Embrace your inner demons. It's time for a nice X-Play replay.
College Hoops 2K7 got a 4 out of 5 for solid online play and a nice chant creator.
Trauma Center got a 4 out of 5 because it's fun to play God.
Robo Blitz got a 4 out of 5 because it's a great value.
SOCOM US Navy SEALs Fireteam Bravo 2 got a 4 out of 5 because a PSP game that doesn't suck is a joy.
And Kirby Squeak Squad got a 3 out of 5 just to keep you on your toes.
And speaking of funky things, it's time for video viewer mail.
Hey, I'm Morgan. I'm not really understanding what's going on with Halo 3 beta right now. Do you think you could explain it to me? Thanks.
Well, there's this game called Crackdown, which is a free-roaming urban crime game. Crackdown looks pretty good, but the real draw is that it's got a key so you can use it to download the Halo 3 beta from the Xbox Live Marketplace.
Crackdown releases in February, and only specially marked games will include the Halo 3 beta. If you want to download the beta without buying Crackdown, you're going to need to register at halo3.com, then play 3 hours of Halo 2 on Xbox Live during specified hours, then be the first of 13,333 to subscribe.
We don't know precisely what that means, but we're excited, mostly because we don't know what the beta will include. Sorry to be so vague, but we're not particularly good at our jobs.
But as more information comes out, it should all be available via Xbox Live Marketplace, so keep checking in.
And I know we've already plugged our website a bunch this episode, but when new Halo 3 information does come out, you can bet the crack squad at G4TV.com will be there to get you the info.
And that trust is earned every day on X-Play.
Today on X